All right. How's it going, man?
Yo, it's going good, man.
I'm Eric,
I'm Elliot.
and we really calling this Black Dad, White Dad?
Yeah, why not? You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we two fathers. We trying to, you know, introduce our perspective to the community, and even though we might have had lived like two separate lives, it still ended up on the same path, the same road.
But you know what I found out today from you?
What?
That you originally from Long Island.
No,
And born in Queens, like me, Long Island. How long were you in Long Island for?
well, you know what? God damn, damn. Now
I
I
just
gotta,
blew you up.
and then now, no, you know what it is. Now it's gonna seem like I'm starting off like I'm a liar. I was just joking.
No.
I never grew up in Long Island. I
Oh,
was, no,
oh,
I
that
was,
was just because
yeah,
I said you were
yeah,
from the
yeah,
ghetto?
yeah, yeah. So when he said he's from the ghetto, he was the, I was from the ghetto. I was like, well, Long Island, you know what I'm saying? But no, I was born in Queens and raised between Queens, and then my later years, I moved to Brooklyn.
Right. Gotcha. All right. No, cool. So, I mean, I was born in Queens, then I grew up on Long Island,
Yeah,
and then I
right.
moved into the East Village, and then Brooklyn. I was in Sunset Park for 3 years,
Okay, all right.
and then now I'm in the Bronx. I gotta tell you a funny thing. So,
BX,
so I what was it BX,
BX.
but I told you about Wavy Wayne, the Wavy Seals, this like hip hop community this producers that I hang
Yeah,
out with.
facts.
So these guys are so there's a guy named Vinci Smokes, and
Mm,
he's like somewhere in Kingsbridge.
got you.
So one night we were all talking. Somebody said, "Where are you from?" I said, "The Bronx," and they was like, "Yo, the Bronx." Like
Bronx.
these guys are all from like South Side of Chicago, all this right. And then one day Vinci Smokes says, "Yo, dude, man, let me come by your studio. Let's do some tracks." I'm like, "Cool." And he's like, "Where do you live?" I said, "Oh, I'm on," and I gave him my address. And then next week he's like, "Yo, man, this."
This ain't the.
He's like, this guy's
Yo,
from.
this ain't the
He's like,
Bronx.
this guy's
Yeah,
from Riverdale, and
he
they're all
from
like,
Riverdale.
and these guys are from all over the country. They're like,
Yeah,
"What's that?" And he says,
Riverside. No, Riverdale. Like that be happening out here. They be, Riverdale run up on you. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the nice part of the Bronx.
dude. But this guy blew up all my street cred.
Oh man, you gonna once you say you from Riverdale,
It's over.
it's over. You gonna lose any street credibility. Like ain't nobody gonna support you. Ain't nobody gonna be feeling. You can't. You know what I'm saying? You from the Bronx. They expect you for to say like South Bronx. East Tremont. What's that? Pelham Parkway.
Well, yeah. So I okay. Now, in my defense, I was such an idiot. I had a trucking business when I was younger,
Gotcha.
and I used to get drunk and drive a 37,000 pound truck around, and I
Mm-hmm.
would park on St. Mary's in the South Bronx
Gotcha.
and eat my lunch, and I would just watch drug dealers and prostitutes the whole time.
Gotcha.
And I'll be honest with you, I was fascinated by it
Wow.
because
because they at work.
what was that?
They at work. They working.
They're
Yeah,
working.
just because you're a drug dealer or you're a
It
prostitute
doesn't-
doesn't mean you're not working. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a job too. It's not a job that everybody can do. Because look at some of your clients,
Well, dude,
especially for the prostitution part.
but let's talk about this though. So I used to watch Gangland, right?
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about Gangland is there's a Chicago gang called the Peastone Gang,
Okay.
and the dude is running it from behind bars, the
Wow.
founder, and he's got like thousands of people doing shit on the street. This guy's making like 40 grand a month
Damn.
from behind bars, and you got to think about that. His organizational skills and whatever it is that he's running
Mm-hmm.
a giant enterprise.
Yeah,
Managing
absolutely.
thousands. Now, I guess part of his currency is if you don't do your job, I can kill you, have you killed. But like that, you can't tell me that because I can't do that. Like if you gave me the charge of a business the same size, I'm not built that way. So this dude from behind bars, this gangster, is a better businessman than so many people who are trying to make it.
A lot of people not built for that. Street pharmaceutical specialists, we call them SPS, street pharmaceutical specialists. These guys, it takes a unique person to be able to deal with that. I one of my first jobs, I was a street pharmaceutical specialist, and any references about that, you can go to One Police Plaza. They probably got record. I did pretty good.
Speaking
I
of,
did pretty good on that.
so dude, so last night I woke up at 3 a.m. and I saw your text message, and I was like, I recognize that metal bench. What were you doing in the Tombs, man?
Yeah. When I'm not, doing comedy or, you know, uh, working all my other jobs, I'm EMT in New York City, and I actually we go to the jail a lot because a lot of people, when they realize that they're not gonna be seen from court, they call and they be like, "Yo, listen, I could get out and go to the hospital, go get a sandwich, what I'm saying, get something to drink, and taste, smell some fresh air." You know what I'm saying? So people call. A lot of them call because they be withdrawing from like some type of opiate or alcohol or whatever it may be, and they need to get some medication to help them feel better.
But some people you think just call because they want to get out.
Because they FOS.
Right. So if they get locked up on a Thursday night, they may not see a judge till Monday morning, right?
Well, I don't think that long, but you know, down there, if you ever been to Central Bookings,
well, I have been.
24 hours is like an eternity. 24 hours feel like a week. So it's like all it takes is for night court to close, and then they don't see the judge. It's like it's a wrap, So these guys, they're not tough like in my days, like when you had a heroin addict, when he was going through withdrawals, he would just eat a pack of sugar, and that would help his stomach and deal with the nausea. Now they want to go to the hospital and they want to go get the methadone,
right?
Because a lot of them is big wuss.
Well, I'll tell you what, a guy that I met, who wasn't a wuss, dude. I got locked up one night, and this was like, I got locked up for some things over the years, but this was the dumbest thing.
Wow.
I was on my rollerblades. Wow, that
on his rollerblades, like, yo, who get locked up while they?
What? Hang on, that's not exactly what happened.
Let me let him finish.
Yeah. So no, what happened was I was on my rollerblades in the subway.
Gotcha.
They gave me a ticket.
Okay.
Right. They gave me a desk appearance ticket. I called because it was on my birthday, but it was also on a Saturday. So the woman says, "Well, if it's on a Saturday, the ticket is null and void." But I didn't know I had to call and get it cleared.
So you know what happened after that.
So now I'm in East River Park walking my dog, and my dog is off the leash for like 2 seconds. Guy comes to give me a ticket. He goes to me a ticket, and I got an outstanding
warrant. I already know.
Yeah. So now
I already know.
And it was a Thursday night. And I call my nephew Christopher, and I'm like, dude, I need you to come get my dog. He grabs my dog.
Wow.
They put me in, and I didn't get out until Monday morning. Wow. Now, this is back in the day. I think they sped it up. They put judges on the bench at night.
Yeah. I mean, they always had night court, but I don't know what year this was. But
this was probably like 2008.
They always had night court.
Well, listen,
you just like you know what, your paperwork just kept getting pushed back. Then unfortunately, you had the you pretty much did your time.
I did my time.
You did your time. When you got to the judge, they was like, time served.
All the things that I did in my life, and the longest I ever spent in jail was for having my dog off the leash and wearing rollerblades.
In a subway. Wow, that's crazy, yo.
But now check this out. So this is my favorite story. So have you been locked up down there?
Well, listen, I'm like a fairy. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, so he doesn't know what I'm talking about, except he has slept on the metal benches. So these benches, you can't lean against the wall because your ass slides off the bench like this, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sliding off the bench, and then there's like sometimes there's like tons of people in the cell with you, and then you have to find a place to sleep on the floor. And if you get lucky, you find a space on the bench. So I finally find a space on the bench, and it's like maybe 2 a.m. I'm sleeping. You got to sleep on your sneakers, and you got to put your jacket because you don't want the filth or any of that stuff, right? This dude comes in, black man, about 2 a.m. And this guy, he was wearing a wife beater, and if he made a muscle, it was like a muscle man stood on top of his muscle. He was this dude, and he just comes in and just starts talking the craziest funny shit ever. And he's just like, he thinks he's at a country club. He's like, yo, and he knows everybody from somewhere else.
Gotcha.
So he's just going, yo, and then this motherfucker, he pushed me, and he was out on parole. So he's
Ooh,
like in trouble now for some stupid shoving match he had.
gotcha.
And then he referred to a guy as, he goes, so that brother, he's telling me this. And he goes, and then that Chinese N-word. And I had never heard anybody call somebody a Chinese N-word before.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And I'm dying. And as he's ranting and raving, the girl comes with remember the thing they used to have, the Clio, whatever. It would come and take your information.
Absolutely. Get your process.
She's a Palm Pilot. So this girl comes in tight jeans, and she's on the cell across from us, and she's like, and he's going, and that dude, and I was like, really? You want some of this? And then he turns around, and she's at the other cell taking this, and he goes, you know what I'm telling this guy? 'Cause love won't let me wait. Dude, this guy broke in this crazy, in the middle of his rant, he saw this girl from
and he started saying, well, you got to still put in that word.
Dude, he dropped some Luther Vandross. And like, but the thing was, this guy was like, he was fun and cool.
Gotcha.
But he was like a big, masculine, crazy looking dude. He was like 6'5" and giant.
Wow.
And when he
started
like
something from the Green Mile.
And then he was like that, but like more shredded.
Gotcha.
Like not. And this dude starts singing Luther Vandross like for real.
Oh,
he's
sure.
like vibrato. Love won't let.
She must have been pretty.
you think she gave him the vibrato? Like he couldn't sing like that until he saw her?
Oh shit. Word.
So yeah, so Central Booking. My nephew Chris, who took my dog that time, he's been down there. We've both been down there. So we'll call each other from there. Like, yo, what's up? And the rest of my family, they're just like, none of us have ever, like, he did one thing that was pretty stupid. He got mad at an independent truck driver because the guy honked at him when he was taking out the garbage. So he took the bag of glass bottles and threw it at the guy's windshield. And that ended up being a big, because
that could be a felony right there.
Yeah, that was
used as a weapon.
That was close.
That's going to get you, that's definitely going to make you have a visit to Central Bookers. And beyond that, you might end up going to Rikers.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he stayed in Central. I think, because but it was like this thing. So the thing with us is whenever we knew we were going to get locked up, we try to get to the other one and get them the calling card to use it to be. Wow. So like, if you're a good relative.
Well, I just is in there. These cats are so stupid. They done broke all the phones, so you can't even call home no more. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. People, they stupid. They get bored in there, or they don't got nobody to call. So I'm like, I'm gonna break the phone so nobody else could use it.
Well, let me tell you about the phones. So there's not a lot of guys like me in Central Booking, right?
Pretty much.
So there was one crazy white dude in there with me one of the times I was there, and he said something that threw me off so badly. So you remember after the World Trade Center attacks, everything, like I was on the Staten Island ferry one day and I used to stand in front. Okay. But after September 11, 2001 for years.
Okay.
And then in 2005, I went on the front of the boat. The woman was like, you can't go on the front anymore. I said, why not? She goes, well, ever since 9/11. So everybody had this thing. You'd hear it, and anytime somebody told you couldn't do something or something was changed, it was always since 9/11. So this dude tells me,
we were told that for years.
Right?
You couldn't go in the front. You can't get upset now you can't be, because you can't be in the front of the boat. You can't get upset.
So you're telling me that's what I get for my white privilege? I get to sit in front of the
boat. You see how upset he got? She told me I can't sit in front of the front.
No, I didn't even care. It's just that she lied to me and told me it was since 9/11.
Wow.
And I'm like, I did this after. So anyway, so check it out. So this crazy dude's in lockup, and he's got he got locked up. He's like, well, the reason they locked me, and he's like a lunatic. He's like, the reason they locked me up is, the way people put the screw in the payphone. So when the change comes down, and then the guys come and they unscrew it and take the quarters.
Yeah.
He said, well, I was the guy who was unscrewing it because I didn't want to see people lose their money. Like, yeah, right. So he goes, do you remember Joel Klein? Remember Joel Klein and Hedda Nussbaum? They beat that poor little girl, baby Hannah. It was a terrible thing in the 80s where this idiot and his wife, this girl died from being beaten.
Gotcha.
Her name was Hannah.
Wow.
And so he's like, so we were sending cigarettes to jail to Joel Klein for years so he would die of cancer.
Oh,
and I was right. And he goes, but people don't contribute. They used to give us $5 and $6, but they don't give us money anymore. And I said, why not? And he goes, well, ever since the tsunami, that's what I did. Dude, I was like, you can't. And I actually literally said to him, you can't say since the tsunami.
Wow.
It's since 9/11.
Gotcha.
Like, I was like, it was so weird. You realize you got programmed to hear ever since 9/11 for so long that when he said something else,
Yeah.
I was like, I did exactly what you did. I just looked at him like this, like, you can't say that.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine sending somebody cigarettes to kill him?
I mean, it's like, you probably doing them a favor anyway. You know, I mean, listen, it's gonna take a lot of cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna just happen overnight.
Dude,
You
the
know what I'm
guy's
saying? So
been
you
there
probably
since-
supplied them his whole time. You know what I'm saying? With cigarettes.
Dude, this guy was crazy, man.
Wow.
So yeah, so lock up. So I think my nephew Chris and I are the only person, and I'm talking. Well, actually, you know what? I have a couple of nephews who have had fist fights in pubs and shit and gotten locked up.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You know that shit was whack. I was. Let me tell you something. I was going to get locked up, and I was going to get paid for it. I was
What?
supposed to. Yeah, I was supposed to have been on the show. Called 60 days.
I remember that.
Yeah, 60
we
days.
spoke from that. Yep.
Yeah, 60 days, man. I was supposed to, and I was supposed to have went on there, and I had turned it down because I was just out of work because I had recently gotten into a motorcycle accident. And then the time they asked me, it was just like I was already out for a while. So to try to get another leave, they didn't do it. And then, they had promised me that, to call me back. And what happened was they did call me back. And then I was supposed to have been on the next season. And then that's when COVID had hit. And, then after that, it was just a wrap.
I definitely remember you getting. I saw we once FaceTimed and you were out of prison on a set.
Oh yeah. I did a couple, scenes from Law and Order.
Is that what
yeah, SUV. I would see Ice-T on there, and yeah, we would do things. Actually in Staten Island, there's an old prison called Arthur Kill, and that prison they had that prison was shut down like years ago. So pretty much Hollywood use it for whenever they do films and stuff like that.
So what set was that on that you were doing? That was
that was Law and Order. Or sometimes I think FBI as well.
So I got really annoyed with Law and Order one day. I was on 3rd Street when I lived in the East Village, right by your son's school. It was like 2nd Avenue.
Gotcha.
Right. What was that school again? St.
Bridge.
St. Bridge. So it was right over there, right? And whenever I see like death on the road or things like, I always say a little prayer. You know what I mean? You see something tragic and you just say, you send the blessing. And I remember walking down this 3rd Street and I get to the barricade and I can't go past. And I look and I see a body with a sheet over it. And I'm just like, God, bless them and, heal their family.
Yeah.
And then I hear cut. It was fucking Law and Order.
Yo,
I was like, what the fuck?
At least it wasn't real.
No, I was happy it wasn't real.
At least it wasn't real.
My son was obsessed with train derailment videos when he was younger.
Okay.
And I would say, Marcus, that like I'd say, people die in those,
Yeah.
And he'd say, but then they're gonna go to heaven with Jesus. And I'm like, okay, easy, killer.
But said, people don't be in a rush to do that.
Yeah, right. I said,
because you can ask anybody that praise the Lord and all that, but you want to go see him right now, everybody gonna say no. Pretty much.
So Marcus, so I said to him, Marcus, I said, we don't want to glorify death and stuff like we want, and he understood. He was like 3 or 4, like a little, and I swear he says to me, so a couple of weeks later, I see him watching a derailment video. I said, Marcus, I asked you not to watch this. And he said, I don't think this is real, Daddy. I said, that looks pretty real to me. He said, yeah, but there's no Joey Fatone reporting from Queens. Dude, oh, that shit was something. So speaking of meeting your maker, so you tell me the story again, please, about the guy who wanted to fight you.
Yeah, so I think that all goes back to like the central booking. What I was telling you that a lot of people they be withdrawing from opiates, and so it was one guy. He was just like his oxygen saturation was down to like 16%. He had the tell signs of someone who's overdosing, pinpoint pupils, agony respirations. We give him some Narcan. We give him a little bit of oxygen, a little bit of ventilation, and he comes to it, and he gets upset and want to fight. And he doesn't want to fight you because because you saved his life. He wants to fight you because you just messed his high up.
So dead is
Yeah. So pretty much dead is high because once you give him the Narcan, it just reverses the opiate, and like that $20 bag, that $10 bag, it just went down the drain. A lot of people don't realize that death just be knocking right around the corner.
And he wanted to fight you. And what'd you say to him?
I was like, yo, dude, come on, man. I was like, I just did Jesus on you, man.
I
I just brought you back from the dead, man. You know what I'm saying? I just brought you from the dead. I just saved your life, man.
Now, you don't think it's
you lived another day to go get another bag.
Right, but he can't see that in the immediate.
He can't. He can't. He might thank me later. Like, oh,
that's something else, man. The I think the thing that fascinates me about it is like it's like kind of like, I guess, when somebody wakes you up, how like Marcus wakes me up all the time. Like I'll be sleeping on the couch, I'll fall asleep, and he'll be like, "Daddy," and I'll be like, "What up?" So so I think if I were in a deeper sleep and I was high and you wasted a $20 bag, I'd definitely be.
Yeah, you want to fight.
And plus, you've had people wake up in the ambulance, right?
It's dependent. Usually most of the times when people wake up is usually because of because they overdose. I did have someone wake up from a gunshot where they was unconscious, and after working on them from a while, they woke up, but they was in a more altered mental status. They was like more confused, even though they woke up. So, those, it's not the same. But when from the people who wake up from from receiving like Narcan.
Right. So, because I'm just trying to picture, like I remember when my nephew Kirk, when he was a little kid, he was in his mom's car. My brother and his wife pulled up, and then we put him in mine and my girlfriend's car, and we took him to a park.
Gotcha.
So he woke up. So he went to sleep in his mom's car with his mom and dad, and he woke up in the parking lot of a park in a different car with two different people. And I just remember him looking like,
yeah,
because he was asleep for this big transaction.
Yeah, and then then it's like a shock, and then it's like a shock to the system. Then you wake up, and then you see yourself in another car. You see yourself, you see
in an ambulance.
Right. Because sleep is a state of unconscious.
Yeah. Have you had to get a colonoscopy yet?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I did, man. It's like you gotta be a brave man to get one of those. They gotta knock you out for that, man.
Yeah, I remember I had this guy here in Riverdale, Dr. Tepler, and I kept postponing it. And finally one day he says, "Come on, Eric, what's going on, man? What are you so afraid of?" I said, "I'm afraid I'm going to wake up after the procedure and there won't be any flowers on my nightstand." So but it is weird. Like I got that knee surgery recently. It is just so weird. So I have a friend who's an anesthesiologist at NYU, and then the guy who did my surgery, he's like, "Oh, Filer," we're talking, we're laughing. And I said to him right before the surgery, I tried to say to him, "Hey, have you ever had anybody just like fight?" And I was going to say, have somebody fight against the anesthesia and not go to sleep. I said, "Hey, doc, if you," and then I woke up like an hour and 10 minutes later, whatever.
Yeah, that's a fight that you won't win.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
You know what it is? That's what makes me think that the death penalty is not too bad. Because even though, it's almost like going for that surgery.
Yeah.
Because it's like they put you asleep. And if you don't wake up from that sleep, you won't know what happened. And I remember when I was put on an anesthesiology. I remember I was like, I'm gonna fight this. I'm like, and I kept my eyes closed, and then slowly but
Oh,
surely, I was like,
man.
yo, you know what? I'm just gonna let this take effect.
Yeah.
And you next thing you know, you wake up a couple hours later, and you're just a different man.
One of my favorite things with my daughter, the first time she went out of the country, she went to England.
Yes.
And she actually, I think she went somewhere with her mom before that. I can't remember, but she went to England with us. She was 9 years old, and she was jet lagged. So we flew in. We took a red eye into Manchester, and then we went all the way up to northern England to a place called Cumbria, like a city called Whitehaven. And then we were sleeping in a caravan. Like the hotel had these like trailers outside with like a
Gotcha.
kitchen and stuff. And I had to go to a rehearsal. So Sheila was going to stay with my daughter, and I said, Kelly John, and she wouldn't wake up. I said, Kelly John, and she was jet lagged and all messed up, and she just sprung up and said, "What is it?" And I was like, it was like the weird, like she came out like she went from like a deep sleep to like but not like what is it? It was just like what is it? Like this real matter of fact question, like almost like she popped out of sleep and was fully awake. And
Jet lag sound like someone who got the itis real bad. Like they just had a big meal and you can't it's hard to function afterwards.
Dude, I remember falling asleep at a somebody's family gathering in Virginia on Thanksgiving. And I ate like when I eat, like anybody who doesn't know me, I've been overweight, I've been underweight, I have like serious food issues, man. I'm not supposed to tell people that, according to the people in those meetings.
Oh yeah, he just told me about this today. I didn't even know they had it. What is called OA?
OA, yeah, Overeaters Anonymous, man.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Listening, all this like maybe if I would have joined a group like that, they could have helped me, saved me like 30 years ago.
Well,
I didn't even know that they had a group that exists.
It's like
people.
This. Look, dude. Anyway, so I'm not going to get too into that stuff, but people know that I've been sober for a long time. But we're not. When you do like a public thing,
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm going to tell you something. I have food stuff. I can eat. I did that Tim Ferriss diet years ago. The 4-hour body.
Gotcha.
And he does a cheat day. I can eat 20,000 calories in a day. Like I
mean easily.
I can just start like I used to take Sicilian pizza and I'd slice it open and put like cold from the night before. And my kids did it with me and they thought it was the coolest thing, but I'm a junkie. I'd slice the Sicilian pizza, big New York slice of pizza, open this way, and I'd put chocolate ice cream in it. So I'd make a cold pizza. Dude, it is unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Dude, it is.
I guess everybody got their own taste buds. The thing is,
I'm going to challenge you at some point when you're ready to eat some carbs, man. I'm going to do that with you. You're not going to believe it. It's because, dude, the salty cheese and sauce with the sweet bread and the chocolate, it's like crack, man.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, so this Thanksgiving, I'm laying on this couch and I wake up 2 hours because I ate like stuffing and I ate potatoes and I ate turkey, and then you have the L-tryptophan and the turkey putting you to sleep and everything. And I woke up with a piece of apple pie on my chest on a plate, perfectly still. I was so knocked out that my girlfriend at the time just put it on my chest.
Gotcha.
And somebody says, and I kind of remember hearing like, "Aren't you worried that's going to fall?" And she's like, "He doesn't move when he sleeps." And I was just like, and I woke up and I looked and I saw the pie. And you know what I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
I sat up and I started eating it.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
Yeah,
food junkie.
Yeah, food could be, there was a guy at my job and we was in the cafeteria and I'll never forget, me and my coworker, we sat at one table and we seen him. And he was a big dude, but it seemed like when he was eating lunch, he had this he had like a hamburger and we was looking at him. I could say this was the equivalent to food porn. Like this dude looked like when he held the burger like this to his face and he just stared at it. Like if you look a woman in her face and be like yo, I love you. And he held the burger and he just looked at it. And then when he took a bite, he closed his eyes and I'm thinking like all these endorphins and chemicals was releasing, and it was almost like he was making love to the burger.
Yeah.
Like it must have felt so good when it touched his glands because he looked like he was in like this state of a trance where it was like this food you can see where he just seemed like he was just like enjoying it so much. And I think that's the thing where certain things like when I'm binging, I can OD. And my thing is and I had a good run, but a red velvet cake and some ice cream, it's over with.
It's oh no,
It's over, man. It's so hard to abstain from, what I'm saying, like some of that,
now do you get the efforts? Because I'll have the situation where on that cheat day, I would start off and I'd just be like, there was no holding me back. And then I would have a meal between meals. Like I'd finish like my ice cream, chocolate, pizza breakfast, and then I would just like go out to the store for something. I'd get like a hero sandwich.
Cheat day, that was never in my
Dude,
vocabulary.
a cheat day for me is like if I run, so 3,500 calories is a pound, right?
3,500.
Yeah. So if I eat 3,500 more than I burn, that's 1 pound.
Wow.
I can do that every day. So I can gain 30 pounds easily in a month. Losing it in a month is really hard, right?
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
So if I do the 4-hour body and I run let's just say I run a 7,000 calorie deficit for the week.
Got you.
I can do 3 times that on a cheat day.
Okay.
And then he said like cheat meal. I'm like, I can still do it.
Wow.
Like a cheat meal for me, man, I can eat like I can eat 3 slices of Sicilian pizza and 2 cheeseburgers easily in one meal.
Did you ever see that big guy in I think he was like the people that's like over 600 pounds, and he had said he had ordered some Popeyes, and I remember he closed his eyes when he bit that biscuit. He said butter McBiscuit, and the thing about it is the food that he was eating, because like when I look at my own self, I don't, this guy was all in like the family menu, and it's like, and you can see why someone could be like that big. If I was going to Popeyes and I was getting some food, I'm literally ordering just like a 2-piece, maybe French fries and biscuit and something to drink, and I put this weight on. And this guy was eating like 24 pieces of chicken and like 2 orders of fries and biscuits, and still had, the compulsive order just to want to just eat more. And more.
Man, like so as a guy who doesn't drink, probably the first 10 years I was sober, I'd go to my sister's house for parties and stuff. My sister and her husband.
How long has it been since you drank?
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
So if you took a sip, it would bring back like it would.
My brother Adam once asked me. He said,
"Not even one."
My brother Adam once asked me. He said, Eric, what do you think would happen if you took 1 shot of scotch right now? I said, I'd punch you in the face. And he said, and he can kick my ass. He said, why would you do that? I said, I don't know, why postpone the inevitable? Like, in other words, like, I should just get right.
Wow.
Dude, I was like, man, and the thing is, I have to say about food is I never ate a Twinkie and told the cop to blow me. You know what I mean? Like, so like, but food is crazy for me because it's like, I can't believe we're talking about food. Look how vulnerable we are.
Yeah.
You're not like,
I'm about to.
So
I'm about to. What's I mean, I can't believe 30 years. It is, but you got to know your limits, and you got to know, like, like, okay, in that 30 years, 1 drink, and that could have been over with. They could have had me starting back to drinking.
It's just,
and people don't realize it. Like, like a lot of, including myself and friends and family, the addiction, is like the constant drinking every day, saying the smoking, that, you don't realize that it's more than just a recreational, it's more of abuse.
It's totally. So this is the thing that happened with me. So what's interesting is when I got sober, I was 162 pounds.
Can I ask you, can you also tell our audience, what did you do? How did you start like that journey of sobriety? Like how did you
Oh,
start it? Like how did you start? Like how one started to say, hey, and then to last for 30 years, especially being
I-
around people probably.
I'll tell you the whole last few weeks before I quit. You ready?
Wow.
I had a friend, Derek. He brought me to a meeting. Like he saw me skating down the street. My car had no clutch. I was living back at my parents' house.
Got you.
And he sees me skating down the street with one. I didn't have laces on one of my skates. So I'm like wobbling. And I think he may have dropped a big book, an AA big book off at my mother's house.
Got you.
And he kept hounding me to go to a meeting. I was so annoyed. You know, this is the guy who I smoked my first weed with. And he, you know, he wasn't being pushy, but he made it clear. He's like, Eric, you know, he's like, I'm not here. I can't tell you if you're an alcoholic. He said, but I can tell you that, he said, I can tell you that I care about you and things don't look good from my perspective. So he didn't push me, but he let me know what he thought. And then and finally he convinced me to go to a meeting. And then another guy, Bobby, who I knew, was the speaker. It was this huge meeting on Rockville Center, Long Island. And he was like, and then after the meeting, after his speech, I said, hey, man, I said, dude, I'm so happy for everybody here. This is so great that you people need this and you found it. And I'm still thinking that that's for them and not for me, right? But it gets better, right? So so in 1 month, this band that was signing to Geffen Records threw me out of the band.
Oh, wow.
And these are friends of mine. And they had just had it with me,
Gotcha.
right? And then I had a trucking business, I was telling you, and one of my big trucks got repossessed.
Okay.
And my girlfriend left me for this other guy who was kind of in our circle and moved in with him.
Oh, wow.
So
she wasn't for you anyway. She was for the streets.
Yeah. So it was like, you know, as long as I had one thing to hang on, I would like, you know, I'm signed to Geffen Records. That would have worked. Or like, you know, I still have my hot blonde girlfriend. I don't really date blondes, just her and Sheila. But anyway,
gotcha.
So that would have been enough. Or like, you know, I'm a business owner. I have my trucking business. Or, you know, like, and so everything got taken away in like a 2-week period.
Wow.
But then it got even funnier. So I used to go to this community church in Baldwin, Long Island, and nice bunch of people, still friends with a bunch of them to this day. And I went to speak to the minister, you know, and I didn't really believe anything that I was learning in church back then. I believe it more now, but I had to unlearn it and relearn it as an adult, you know, because it was all stuff from childhood, you know what I mean? Like the mythical stuff, not the practical stuff. So I run to the church and I see this guy with this big red nose. And he's setting up chairs. I said, is Mike here? And Mike was the minister. He goes, I don't know who Mike is. I said, he's the minister of the church. He says, this is an AA meeting. Why don't you have a seat? And I was like, I want to blast this guy in his big nose. He knew just by the way I was acting that I needed to be in that meeting.
Were you drunk?
No, but it was like that thing in your skin at the end. Like, it's just like the whole thing.
I mean, you was there for help.
So the whole thing's coming down. Right. And then as I'm walking out, you know, my mom was a bit of a drinker. My dad was a bit of a drinker. You know, there was just like typical, you know, but they were great parents. But at that moment, I figured, oh, it's their fault. I saw an Al-Anon. You know what Al-Anon is? Al-Anon's for friends, relatives of alcoholics.
Oh, wow.
Like, you're the victim, right? So I'm fucking leaving this meeting. I see that. I'm like, my mom and dad drink. And I grab this freaking thing. They didn't drink anywhere near as much as I drank. And I'm going to blame them. So I race over to Freeport Hospital where they had a detox and they had a meeting. And I'm sitting down in the meeting, this Al-Anon meeting, and this woman and her husband, they're crying that their son is locked up in Pennsylvania and their sister is the DA who can get him out. And I was like, and meanwhile, my dad had gotten my ass out of a sling because he was high in politics as so he got me out of trouble a million times. And I said to this, I literally, in the middle of the meeting, I interrupted. I said, listen, lady, it's called tough love. You tell him to sit there and take it like a man. And they were like, hey, no crosstalk. And I was like, and I sat down, I was like, holy shit. Like, it hit me like right then, holy shit. Like I just told this lady to let her son suffer when my dad got me out of every bit of trouble I'd ever been in. And I was like, and I literally got back in my car and I screeched wheels back over to the church and I sat down. And by the time that meeting was over, and the next morning, 6:30 in the morning in Long Beach, I went to a meeting which became my home group until I moved back into the city. So it was crazy.
Quitting like that, like cold turkey. Did you have any like type of residual effects?
The meetings really help that. You know what I mean? The meetings help because, you know, you're listening to people. So, you know, you're not going crazy. You know, you're supposed to be going through that. So, you know, but I wasn't having like DTs and stuff, but a lot, you know, alcohol will kill you.
Yeah,
you know?
of course, man. If you drinking and like that and all of a sudden you stop. But I mean, like to me, it's like, what is the root to like why we, like why we, sometimes with alcohol, I could feel like I'm in a better space, like for that moment, and then it's like, you feel good. It intensifies everything 10 times better.
Right.
I think, sometimes when I was drinking, the food tasted better. Saying sometimes it's spicier with the sex, listen, like, that's why I don't think I could totally quit, but
but you're also not punching out cop. Like, let me tell you something. I did some regrettable things. This is, I hope my brother Richard doesn't get upset that I tell this story, but like we were in the basement working out. My dad, my brother Adam, my brother Richard, and maybe my cousin Phil. And I see a scar on my brother's chest. And I was like, dude, what happened to your chest? And my brother Adam said, you bit him, you asshole.
Oh, wow.
Like, so you know what I'm saying? Like I bit these are my two brothers are my heroes.
Gotcha.
And like, I was so out of my mind over those years that I didn't even know that I did that. Like when he said it, I remember doing it.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? So
but
like,
it's like, that's the thing that makes alcohol so bad, because it's like, you're supposed to do it to make the moment happy, not get violent or, all emotional. And that's where a lot of people, their true feelings come out. It's like,
right. Well, you remember what
you biting niggas for?
You remember what Bill Cosby said, right?
Nah.
You're like, I don't care what he said.
No. I just don't remember what he said.
He said, somebody said, hey, like in one of his jokes, he says, hey man, why do you snort cocaine? He said, oh, it enhances the personality. He said, what if you're an asshole? So like, you
more of an asshole.
Dude, I would never want to cheat. God willing, I'll never chance it without, because it's just like the things that I did. Now, food, it's more like I'm wrecking me. Like one of the reasons I feel bad for people who are too addicted to weed is if you drink a lot and you do cocaine, you'll mess shit up for other people and they'll intervene. Like you'll lose all your friends and you actually have to say like, okay, nobody wants to talk to me.
Damn.
But with weed, especially, maybe like heroin, you get in different types of trouble. But weed, man, people just smoke it and they disappear. They just, because I don't mean somebody who's getting high and having a little fun. I'm not judging.
Yeah, I get that. But the thing about with marijuana and they legalized it is just that I don't know, is it really helping everybody, or is it
well, it's probably helping them legally a little bit, but
I don't know if that's, and I was someone who was, a heavy smoker, and I feel like, most people now is like, it's just smoking, and they don't have to worry about anything as far as like the law enforcement. They don't got to worry about someone saying, hey, you can't smoke in this area. I think more younger children are being exposed to it.
Right.
I think that marijuana is a gateway to other drugs, because I have friends that they started just typically smoking marijuana and drinking, and then they elevated to cocaine, they elevated to
heroin.
Heroin, methamphetamines, and then the thing about it is, because it's like, I think you smoke to the point where you don't start to get high, and like once you burn those receptors and you start to look for something else to get even more.
Dude, I knew a dude named Lionel. again, big dude, grew up in Bed-Stuy, nice guy. After he got clean, I knew him. And he said, man, he goes, we were talking about crack, 'cause I never smoked crack. I snorted cocaine.
Right, shit, that's the purest form of crack.
Right. Well, but I'm just saying, but I never smoked cocaine
Crack.
or freebase. You know what I mean?
Okay, God damn.
And this dude said, am I like missing out or something?
No. I'm like, shit.
So this guy says to me, he said, E, he said, the first time I hit the pipe, he said, I heard church bells and angels. They went, oh, and he said, and I spent 8 years robbing people, kicking in doors, breaking into cars, just to hear that one more time. And he said, and I never heard it again. He literally chased that very first hit. And that is sad, man.
That's crazy.
You know that guy or girl who is the friend, but they're in love with the guy or the girl?
Yeah.
And they're not reciprocating?
Yeah.
You see that dude or that girl and you're like, you need to stop. Like, I would never be that guy. I don't care if I was like 3 feet away from, who would I want to hang out with? I'm in love with Jessica Alba.
Okay.
But I would, no, but I'm just saying, like, even though I don't think Taylor Swift is hot, I mean, she's like such a megastar. Like, if I were hanging out with her and I would never deceive this is going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Oh, I could, because I'm the man. But my point is that pathetic. But the only thing more pathetic than that person following the other person around like a puppy dog is chasing the first crack hit off a pipe for 8 years and going to jail and losing your kids. Like, can you imagine that? And that's another thing. How can you imagine if I had one of my episodes in front of them?
I mean, that's a lie. It's a deep. I mean, you could lose a lot. Listen, I've been chasing that ever since, I made my first cheeseburger. I was like, God damn, I ain't never get that taste again, eating that cheeseburger. But now, I never dibbled and anything like that. And then, working as a healthcare provider, and seeing people that use like cocaine, and literally you can see they heart beating from their chest.
Oh yeah.
I mean, someone, you sitting down, your heart rate shouldn't be 200 beats per minute.
No,
that's crazy. That is fucking crazy.
By the way, you know what my resting heart rate is?
What?
42.
Yeah, because most athletic people, they have slower heart
But again,
rate.
this is why I'm crazy, because so I didn't work out for 2 months because of the surgery. And every day, and then it got up to 48, and I was flipping out. But now I'm on the bike, so it's coming back down.
Gotcha.
But I'm like obsessed. But no,
you don't want it. You don't want it to be too slow.
Well, so what was really interesting is I wear the Apple Watch, right? And one night I fell asleep with it on because I charge it at night.
Yeah.
And it woke me up in the middle of the night, told me to go to the hospital because my heart rate was 39. So the next morning I called a doctor who had not met me yet. And I said, hey, my watch is telling me to go to the hospital. And he said, how old are you? I told him I was and then he said, listen, he said, I can't give you proper advice without seeing you. So I made an appointment. I said, but should I go to the emergency room? He said, let me ask you a question. Are you very fit or very unfit? I said, I'm very fit. And he said, you probably have a very strong heart. So it's one or the other. If you're like 67 years old and you're like big and you never walk down the stairs because you can't because of your leg, and you have 39, then you're in trouble. It's a different thing, But I'm obsessed with my heart rate. My resting heart rate went up 6 points while I wasn't working out, and I started flipping out like a crazy person.
Well, yeah, usually when you have a heart rate that low, there could be a lot of indications. One of the things the medics would do, they would have, other things also shown with that. Someone a heart rate in the 30s, they would like pace them.
Right.
And
tell me about pacing.
Oh, pacing is like, they put like these leads on it. They try to get your heart rate to like,
increase.
Yeah, increase, because it's like it's pumping. It can pump so slow that it can stop.
Right.
So, that's the danger of having a slow heart rate, even when you're athletic. You know what I mean? You don't
really
it can be so slow. Like that's why your Apple Watch is indicating for at 39 beats a minute.
When
typically your a normal heart rate is anywhere between 60
And
to
like,
100 beats.
yeah,
And anything that's below 60 is considered bradycardia. Anything that's above 100 is considered tachycardia.
right.
And then there's other things, there's way beyond my scope. But when you start having elevated or low, it can be an indication of several things. Sometimes a lot of fast heart rate can be induced by drugs,
Drugs, right.
cocaine.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can have some type of heart problems that can also, if you wasn't athletic, they can make your heart rate go slow.
Well, let me ask you this. So something that I had a funny thing happen with the heart rate. My daughter's watch wasn't hooking up to her phone, and it hadn't been for a while. And so I got on with them, and one of the things the woman suggested was for me to hook her watch up to my phone. So I disconnected mine, I hooked hers up, and then it didn't work. So we sent the watch back. But then I get on the treadmill, and I was on the treadmill for like an hour, and I looked, and I only burned like 176 calories. Normally, an hour on a treadmill, I burned 700.
Oh wow!
I'm running fast. I was like, yeah,
got you.
And I'm like, what's going on here? And then I look, so I get on the phone. Oh no! And then I looked, and my phone thought I was a 14-year-old girl that weighed 103 pounds. So that's why I was doing that. But then I reset it. Then I thought it was doing too high. I called the guy at Apple, and he said, I'm looking, I gave him access to my stuff. He said, your resting heart rate before you reset it, he said was like 58.
Okay, which is
low still.
It's low. It's not too far from normal.
He said when you reconnected it 3 years later, it was 42.
Okay.
I didn't know this. I thought if your heart rate's lower and your heart rate doesn't go as high, you burn less calories. Listen to this. If your heart rate is 82 and mine's 41, my heart pumps twice as much blood per pump as the person with the 82.
Okay.
So he said when the CDC and the World Health Organization, their recommendation is when the watches calculate active calories, they start it at 130% of heart rate. Or when you get to certain levels of cardio, whatever.
Gotcha.
So he said, so if my heart rate is 90, he said, I'm not at 130% until I'm at like 135, right? Or whatever the math would be. And he said, when you're at 84, you're at 200% of your heart rate. He said, so your heart is actually burning. And I was fascinated, but that's why I became obsessed with my heart rate being low. Because I'm like, oh man, this is like, I'm a machine. But it's all vanity and it's all like over. And that's why when I got injured, I knew I was going to be laid up for 2 months. And I started flipping out. Like, what am I going to eat? How much can I eat? I'm used to eating 2,700 calories a day. What am I going to do? I'm going to go down to 17.
You think when your heart rate is beating that fast, when your heart is broken, is burning that much calories? When your heart is broken
by a woman?
Yeah.
When I've gotten my heart broken by a woman, I just don't eat. I'm the worst, man. I'm like a baby.
Oh my God.
I'll be like, honey, I don't need you. Get out of my life.
And that's all the front.
And then they leave, and I'm like, I tell Sheila all the time. I said, listen, if I ever tell you to leave, I don't want you, I'm lying.
Yeah. Listen, they all left me.
What?
Yeah, they all left me.
Dude, I know your wife.
No, not her. I mean, she's the one that stuck around, but the other ones.
You know why they all left you? Because God loved you.
Yeah,
and He wanted you to get Marielle.
Yeah, he was setting me up for something better, bigger things, and look at us now, like almost 20 years later, 4 kids.
4 beautiful kids.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I mean, that's the whole thing that, why we started this podcast, because we talking about being parents, what I'm saying? Eric is for y'all probably didn't know, y'all probably thought he was Elliot and I was Eric. No, it's the other way around. I'm Elliot and he's Eric, and we the proud parents, combined total of 6 children.
Yep. Who are all friendly with each other.
Yeah, and then I think we bypassed what we originally wanted to talk about. How me and Eric had met over 8 years ago when we was at this Caroline comedy uh, school that was ran through Caroline's Comedy Club, and we took this class with the great Linda Smith.
Amazing,
Oh
Linda
man,
Smith.
and Linda has shown so much faith in me, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had missed the email that she had sent out that said that when you come to class, come with 1 minute of material. And so when I get there, I see everybody have like their 1 minute material. I was like, I never saw that email, so I literally went up there and just started talking, and
I remember that.
and there was a guy, and I never forget that was in the class. He was trying to heckle everybody in class. He was sitting in the back, and I always remember he might have thought I was Hispanic because it was him and two other black females in the class, and he said, "Yeah, we're the only three." And then I was like, so I was like, so what am I? You know what I'm saying? And then he and it was so great about this is that when he had it was time for him to go up on a mic. I thought this guy was having a heart attack.
Yeah.
You should have saw he was sweating profusely. He was stuttering in his words. The guy that was trying to heckle thought they couldn't come up there to do 1 minute,
1 minute
of comedy. And guess what happened after that?
What?
I never seen him. He never came
back.
Yeah,
he freaked out.
He
right?
never came back.
Yeah.
He never came back.
Dude, it's there's a guy who I'm friends with on Facebook. And he's been doing. I don't want to mention again. I was just going to say his name. I don't. But he won, or he was like a finalist in the Long Island comedy competition.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, man, and I kept paying props and following how it was going with him. And what I really wanted to say is like, dude, I don't give a shit if you suck at this, and he clearly doesn't because he did well. But I was just thinking, people don't know what it's like because I've been on stage my whole life. People are like, oh, you're so comfortable on stage. When you finish a song, even if your band sucks, you go da da da, and people are polite and they go. So even if you're terrible, people know what the end of the song is and they'll clap.
Yeah.
When you tell a joke, if nobody laughs,
silence.
Dude, I've been putting monologues to the Eric Miranda shows this evening also.
Yeah.
When I put a monologue up with laugh tracks because I can't hear people laugh.
Gotcha.
So even if they don't think the jokes are funny, they know where the punchline is.
Gotcha.
Like, they're pretty funny. Come on, guys, I'm pretty funny. But yeah, it's scary. I remember the first routine you told me was when you really gained weight and then you decide to film having sex.
Oh yeah, yo, that's crazy. Like that I even thought about that. And honestly, sometimes like with comedy, I guess you got to just be real with it. And I associated a tape that I would never be good at, and I talked about that the first time I ever did my first set. And oh my God, it felt so good. Like just the way the audience was laughing. It just felt I can see why comics they do what they do because it felt good to be on stage. It felt good to to make people laugh. Because these days, a lot of people walking around angry, upset, just got so many emotions. But that one emotion, if you could bring them out and make somebody laugh and smile, is like is one of the greatest feelings in the world. And and I referred to a tape, and I said, I was watching, I was like, shit, I'm being a critic of my own self. I said, I thought I saw a Walrus. You know what I'm saying? I said, yo, I said, on
top of something.
I know. I said, yo, I said, I ain't even, I said, when I looked at the video, I didn't even see my wife. I saw a small blue dot, and that was her head. She was starting to turn blue, a lack of oxygen, and people just found that, hilarious.
I also remember you came out and you said, "Yo, I had a lot more fans, but they were all outside. I didn't know they couldn't use their EBT."
Yeah,
card."
yeah. No, I said that I was like, I'm sorry, I would have invited my family and friends, but they couldn't cover the 2 drink minimum because they couldn't bring their EBT
Oh
cards.
my God,
You
dude!
know what I'm
So
saying? Like, I don't know. It's like when when I had an EBT card, I don't know, it felt more powerful than anything in the world. I swear to God, like I had this aura behind me. Like when I walk in the supermarket and my kids behind me, and I'm like this, like I got this cocky, what I'm saying, like arrogant, like yo, walking down the aisle, and I'm like, yo, whatever you want, it don't even gotta be on sale. My kids be thinking twice because they be like, no, I'm like, damn, everything you get, you like, oh, it's not 2 for $5. It's not 4 for 12. Like, like I like those like drug dealer prices, like when you getting a deal and they like, 2 for $5. You know what I'm saying? That's how they got me with Drake cakes. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you come in, you see some Drake cakes, they be like 2 for $5. You know what I'm saying? I see why a lot of crackheads were smoking back in the days because you like, oh shit, 2 for $5. Oh, I'll get me 40s. And you know what I'm saying? And a lot of kids, and so my kids is like, I got this aura about me, just cockiness is like, when I, it's like a power, like, yo, listen, get whatever you want, we in filet mignon. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have got a chance when I had the EBT card. I wish I would have had a chance to buy some Wagyu steak. I never chased that. And, I always wanted to try it. But, till I get an EBT card, I ain't buying no fucking Wagyu steak. Wagyu. I ain't paying no fucking $200 for no one piece of meat.
Listen,
you ever tasted Wagyu?
I don't know. I mean, I've eaten in some fancy places, but let me ask you a question. What if we do a thing where if we get Twitch and some of these, we get to a certain amount of hits, we get a certain amount of likes, then we go for one of those steaks.
Yeah, I'll treat myself, you know what I'm saying? Unless you treating, you know what I mean? Like they gotta be in the budget. Wagyu steaks, guy. You know how much I could buy with that?
If we get one show to 10,000 views,
yeah, you know what? Then I'll buy some Wagyu steak.
Yeah.
I'll get some Wagyu steak.
That's good. That's good, man. So we're at the top of the hour, man. I'm not in a hurry to go, but like, how do you feel? You feeling good?
Yeah. I'm feeling good. I mean, I think we just, we covered, a lot of things and just talked about, basic every life things. I think that on the next time we're gonna have direct topics that we're gonna discuss. Just feeling out, feeling the audience, giving them a vibe. Our whole agenda is we want to show, both our perspectives. We come from different backgrounds, but it's funny how you could come from different backgrounds, but actually almost live in the same world. Like some of his experiences I never experienced, some of my experience he never experienced. And I think it's just interesting, when we go into details about stuff and when you talk about life, I think, a lot of time people want to hear about, a lot of stuff, real things. I mean, I got so many stories, and I want to share with people. And, and if it could reach one person that, is going through anything, like we just talk about, the addiction to drugs, addiction to food, watching your weight, getting your heart broken. I mean, there's so many things that, we can talk about, and, we live life, we experience it. And hopefully, someone to hear this and, they're going through the same thing, or they feeling, a certain way, and maybe we can reach out and they can feel better after listening to this. I'm starting this weight loss journey myself. I got too big, and it's like, and I want to have a lot of reasons. I got 5 reasons, to even 6 reasons, including myself, to want to live. So I just started like trying to eat clean, trying to lose weight, trying to do whatever exercise I could do besides all the injuries that I acquire, working and helping and lifting up people and stuff like that. And the job that I do is not easy. Is mentally and physically, it can be strenuous. And just I hope that this give us a platform to be able to really I think we can resonate with an audience out there that will that will see our perspective. Marcus we Marcus is his son, but with our children, they're actually all biracial. My children are African American and Puerto Rican descendants. um Eric, children is Chinese and Caucasian, and one is Chinese,
One's Korean.
Korean
Marcus.
and Caucasian. So it's interesting. So we
It
got
is
a lot of we got a lot of worlds here. It's like mixing seasoned salt with adobo. Which one is better? You know what I'm saying? Which one is better, seasoned salt or adobo?
Yo, for real. Yeah. Anyway, so comedy's the connection. We'll be funny.
Yeah, we'll be funny.
But we got these great kids who are pals, and and the truth is, man, I can't tell you how many times I look at Elliot and I'm just like, damn, am I failing? Because you are like, that is one tight ship you guys run, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and spit like I'm perfect, I'm listening, but you know what it is. I think that what I try to do the best I can, and what my whole thing with my life is, I wanted my children to learn from my mistakes, and my goal in life was to stop these generational curses that played my family, my people, the stereotype that if you don't do everything straight from the book, that you can't do nothing with your life. And ain't nobody perfect. What I'm saying? Ain't nobody Jesus. So there's no book you could write, or that you could try to figure out like what's going in life. But what I try to do is teach my kids and talk to them, try to tell them to do everything straight from the beginning. Like, don't sit here and you know, you know, just do good with your life, and then hopefully they can learn from me and learn from my trials and tribulations and everything that I've been through. And they can make something of themselves, and like I said, this could help someone, an adult our age, or someone even younger that might be struggling with certain things, like certain drug addiction. And I can tell you from being on the ambulance, I mean, all it's going to do is, when you start these things between even alcohol, drugs, or food, it just becomes repetitive your whole life. Your whole life you repeat and do the same thing. And I can see why Eric had made that commitment of staying 30 years sober. And I think we need to congratulate him, because it's hard to like, you got so many so many peer pressures and so many things. Like, it's easy to be influenced, it's easy to do what other people are doing. And I think that I commend you, because a lot of people in general lack discipline.
Yeah, man, it was a like, I needed the help, and you know what, man, I didn't do it. The people around me helped do it. You know what I'm saying? But it is tough. And the interesting thing, and I'm going to end with this. The toughest thing when I got sober is that people who were hanging out with me who weren't ready to get sober, they would hate you for drinking too much until you told them you were going to quit. And now they're thinking, I'm going to lose a drinking buddy, or wait, do I have to quit? And all of a sudden, like, you didn't drink that much. I'm like, dude, you had me arrested.
Yeah, right.
So,
right.
Anyway, man, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
And let's do this again.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Peace out to everyone.
Peace, man.
And by the way, I just want to let y'all know that Elliot committed to, if every week I pull up a beat, like I make a track, he'll freestyle to it.
Yo, I'll do it. Listen, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, peace out, everyone.
Later.